Welcome back, Camden Catholic. So we left off today in class talking about Pericles, right? And his monumental rule and how he's one of my top 5 favorite people in all of history, okay? He did so much stuff, it's absolutely insane. But to quickly review over it, make sure you write this down just to kind of sum everything up also. So Pericles is going to do a lot of other stuff as well. He's going to make pay for government workers, right? We talked about in class how that's more fair than the old system of doing things. He's going to create equal elections, so he's going to bring democracy back into full force and get rid of that idea of an aristocracy, right? So he's going to also create free theater seats for the poor. Now, really, really quick, does anybody remember, real fast, pop quiz, does anybody remember really fast what a Greek theater was called? Anybody? Come on, come on, come on. I can hear those wheels turning right now. Good friggin' job, Otremsky. I like it, all right? It's called an Odeon, O-D-E-O-N, right? And that gave us Nickelodeon because of Thomas Edison and all his little movie theaters, right? So an Odeon, right? This right down here is an Odeon, okay? So he also created more fair citizenship laws. Now, in case you didn't notice this, write this down. Write this down, and then put a star next to it, okay? And then underlined it 5 times exactly, okay? The theater was one of the most important things in the lives of ancient Greeks, okay? It provided entertainment, it provided an escape from certain things, but the problem was that most rich or most poor people couldn't afford to actually go to the theater. So Pericles, one of the reasons he was elected, how many times in a row again? How many times? Good job, Kofo. The reason why he was elected 29 times in a row is because he actually helped the poor out. He gave them free theater seats in this Odeon of Athens, right? Actually, still used today. People still go see shows here, which is actually really, really nuts. And a lot of it has to do with the acoustics and the fact that you don't need amplification for your voice and stuff like that. Also, one really quick thing that you actually also still use from Greek culture, what's the image of the theater, right? It's the happy mask and the sad mask. That actually comes from ancient Greece because they used to use different masks to actually show emotion of the characters and actually give the characters a face that was actually seeable from very, very far distances. So these are actually very large. They can weigh like 30 pounds a piece. Very, very heavy. Now, anyway, so Pericles, my third most influential person of all time, next to, of course, several other people that we'll get to in history. But I think he's a phenomenal individual. Absolutely phenomenal individual. And to wrap up kind of this little, or never mind, a very phenomenal individual. Remember, he had the statue of Athena built out of ivory and gold, and he had all these other amazing things done. So this was the golden age of Pericles, right? Because he's going to, which we know already, is a time of great cultural prosperity, okay? That is something you should already know, okay? Because we talked about that at the very beginning of this set of notes on classical Greece, okay? So Pericles ushered in that golden age, which was a golden age of art, theater, employment, economy. All of it flourished underneath him. Now, really quick again, why was Sparta struggling a little bit? We talked about that today. Why were they struggling so much? Nice job, Betty. All right, so anyway, that is exactly right. They had an earthquake and a Helot rebellion that they had to deal with. Also, they do not concern themselves with art or theater or any of those things. They're just too warlike, okay? Lastly, all the while, though, this is making the Spartans irate. It is making them so mad. As you can see, Leonidas down here in the bottom corner. The Spartans are becoming more and more jealous. It's hurting diplomatic relations with the Athenians. And this is all, again, Kyle, like you said in class today, foreshadowing further events, right? So Sparta and Athens are further, write this down, Sparta and Athens are just separating themselves further and further apart, culturally speaking, and becoming more and more angry with one another. So this is going to lead to probably some hostilities later on, okay? So a couple of things, though. Life in Periclean Athens. We're going to start talking about this today, and then we're going to talk about it some more tomorrow, and then we're going to get into the big 3 philosophers and things like that. So Athenians lived with very, very few things, okay? So Athenians actually, this is the design of an Athenian home, okay? They actually, every single yard actually had every single home opened up into an open-air courtyard, and the courtyard would usually have an altar on the inside of it to the god or goddess that your family actually prayed to more often than not. And they had different things like a storeroom or a shop, usually for artisans, a dining room. Their dining rooms also, they always ate their meals laying down. They didn't eat sitting up at a table like we do. They always actually ate reclined. And a lot of that has to do with the foods that they actually ate because they were all mostly handheld, right? So anyway, but yeah, going back, all the bedrooms were typically upstairs. Really, really funny thing about this, actually, men and women that were married did not sleep in the same room together in ancient Greece. A lot of that has to do with a lot of different varying roles of the genders and things like that, but they also had a kitchen and different other little areas around near their courtyard. Oh, but anyway, excuse me. So that's the design of an Athenian home in ancient Athens. The Athenian diet, though, a couple things. They ate wheat, barley, lentils, grapes, and along with meat every once a couple of days, okay? A lot of people think that, like, these ancient people were actually grossing on meat, like, all the time. They actually weren't. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that not many animals can actually survive in the climate and the topography of Greece. Due to the low amount of vegetation, how much of the farmland is actually farmable in Greece? That a boy, Melvin. That's right, Melvin. Anyway, it's 20%. It's just about 20%, right? Now, they only meet about once every few days. Now, their economy was based completely on crafting and working, okay? So most men crafted or worked with their hands, and slaves were actually a very commonplace thing in Athens, okay? So most men had a crack about some of the other stuff tomorrow, and then we're going to get into that, and yeah, so I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. We started talking about today life in ancient Athens, in Periclean Golden Age Athens, and how the split between Sparta and Athens became further and further, different things like that, enforced like Pericles and how awesome he was. But we'll get into this stuff a little bit more tomorrow. So I can't wait till then. I will see y'all later, Canada Catholic.